How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out a video today called "The Netherlands is a Giant City." So, I don't know exactly what they mean by that. I know the thumbnail shows it's like overlay in New York City over top of like the country of the Netherlands or whatever, and show like how big it is and the size comparison and all that. So I don't know if it's going to go into the because of the size of it. Maybe all the cities are so close together that they kind of like merge into a giant city. I don't know. But anyways, we're going to check it out. We're going to find out today. The original channel is called Fern. There will be a link to the original video down there in that description section. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're down there. And we're going to check it out and see what this is all about.
The Netherlands is hiding something. You see a country that does everything right. Fantastic bike lanes, trains that work like metros, and parking garages that get millions of views. But the Dutch have a secret. The Netherlands is not a country, it's actually just a giant city, and that changes everything for how we should view it and compare it to others.
And how so? Right? Is it just because it's all connected and it's like a lot of, a lot of the cities are just like right there to where it's all merged together? It's a country, right? Like, how would it not be a country when it's a country, right? I don't know. We're going to find out, though.
The Netherlands is the densest country in Europe. Wait, I know there's like two people in Monaco that'll get angry, so let me nuance it. The Netherlands is the densest real country in Europe.
Oh.
See, people are important because they're kind of nice. They make us laugh, love, and also make it easier to deal with the fact that we're all going to die after a cosmologically insignificant short life. But the best thing about people is that they make it a lot easier to build things. The more people you have on a piece of land, generally the more money you have on that land as well. Put people close together and building gets better. Building a metro to a neighborhood of a city will cost less than building a new metro for every farm in the middle of nowhere. In dense urban areas, the cost of infrastructure is distributed among more people. The further you need to expand roads, the heavier the financial load. When people are separated, it becomes harder to share. Now we need our entirely owned supermarkets, hospitals, and schools. Now, density can only help us to a certain point, of course. It's not technically easier to lay a brand new train station in the middle of a city than in the middle of a field. But the main point stands. When we have lots of people together, we need to build less infrastructure to satisfy each other. The more consumers means that more people pay, meaning that you pay less. Infrastructure costs per capita are the highest in low-density areas and the lowest in high-density areas. So when the world asks, why can't we have nice things like the Dutch, the answer is not just more bikes. The Netherlands is actually made up of two places, the Randstad and everything else. The Randstad is a cluster of the Netherlands' main cities and covers...
Whoops. Yeah, the Ramstad, I've heard about that, where it's like you got the four main cities, right? You got like Amsterdam, Utrecht, Rotterdam, and whatever the other one is. And it's everything in between there, and I guess it's super dense. And then, yeah, everything else is just like farmland and like a little villages in between.
It's around 20% of the surface area in the Netherlands, but it is home to around 45% of the population. That statistic is crucial. Almost half of the country lives in an area where the density is around 1,000 people per square kilometer. Half of the Dutch population lives in an area more dense than some of Europe's densest microstates, like San Marino or the Channel Islands.
Okay.
Compare the entire country's population density as well as the Randstad with the average density in the US, and the differences become even starker. Where the US's average density is around 30 people per square kilometer, in the Netherlands it's 500 across the country and around 1,000 in the Randstad. That's no small difference. In the Randstad alone,
Yeah, but here in the U.S., we have a lot of like empty land though. So how are you going to take the average when you got like deserts and canyons and like giant forests, in the middle of the country that nobody even lives in for miles and miles and miles and miles? So you're factoring in a lot of like dead space though. So I don't understand how accurate the statistics are in that area.
Alone, the Netherlands has a city density with practically half of its entire tax-paying population concentrated inside of it. So on the one hand, the Randstad is impressive. Dutch citizens can travel and afford infrastructure that brings them to all of its major cities in like 2 hours via public transport. But on the other hand, it isn't that impressive when that same area is shown alongside the New York metropolitan area. Half of the
Okay.
Netherlands lives in a place that's built more like New York City than the United States. In terms of distance, the Randstad's individual major cities can be seen more like individual city districts themselves. Amsterdam, the business and financial district, Rotterdam, port and logistics, Den Haag, government and international justice, and then you have Utrecht. Nobody really knows what that city does anyway. The Netherlands' trains really are more like oversized, spacious metros. Even cities further away from the Randstad in the Netherlands are not that much further than the distance between Manhattan and the tip of Long Island. Now, we can interpret this two ways. Either the Netherlands is really small, or New York is just very large.
Well, just because of the size though, it's like they're comparing the size, and then you got the Ronstad, which Den Haag, that's the one that I couldn't remember earlier. But you got all these four major cities and the metropolitan area around it. That's no different than in the United States. You got New York, New Jersey, and then it goes into like what, Philadelphia probably. Like, there's all these different cities that are all connected together, but yet they call them different cities. They have different mayors and different like town halls and all that kind of stuff that runs things, just like in the Netherlands. Amsterdam's going to have different council members than The Hague, or something, or mayors, or I don't know how it's structured over there. I don't know if you guys have mayors and all that kind of stuff, or what it's called, but
But when we celebrate the Netherlands' world-class infrastructure, we should understand that things are made easier by the fact that it has a lot of people, and those people seem to not be that far away from each other.
yeah, that's true. It is pretty crowded, pretty dense, but it's only if you're in that Randstad region though. You know what I mean?
But the Netherlands, with all of its beautiful density, isn't perfect. Being a
No, it
giant
is.
city also brings giant city problems. Even within the country, there are large public budget productions discussing whether the Netherlands is filled with too many people. The Netherlands may have a lot of bikes, but it also has the most personal cars per square kilometer, with the exception of Malta. Density may bring reduced per
Malta, huh? That's another. It's like a micro country, I believe.
capita infrastructure costs, but density can also bring worse air quality. European cities have a dirty secret. Thanks in large part to denser living, few towns in Europe can match the air quality of similarly sized places in America, and the Netherlands is no exception. One of the densest places in Europe, the Netherlands has some of the highest rates of European children with traffic-induced asthma. Of course, there are important caveats to this. The Netherlands has a massive seaport and airport, but the Randstad, with all of its beautiful interconnected features, like a giant dense city, remains one of the most polluted areas in Europe.
Oh, I bet.
But density isn't the only thing that makes the Netherlands a giant city. It actually goes even deeper. Back in around 4000 BC, some humans noticed something. Land close to water, good. Food grow good in good mud. But Urk can't do everything on his own. Better Buruk put seed in mud, and Urk take food out mud, when mud turns seed into plant.
The way the guy's talking, like he's supposed to be talking like a caveman or something. I don't know. It's just funny.
Good. Now we have a lot of plant. Too much plant, but more food for Urk and Buruk. We build mud hut for Urk and Buruk children, and some get bigger mud hut. And to carry mud and plant to mud huts, we need water near plant. So we build more mud hut on waterland flat. But Urk see problem. Too many Urk and Buruk child, not enough plant or good water land. Land dry, Urk angry, Urk have big thought. Urk change mud in water, and Urk can make more flat water land. Now more mud hut and more plant. Urk and Buruk die. Urk and Buruk child sad. Urk and Buruk parent time short. Child wish they spent more time. Tell Irk and Berg parent they were loved. But
What is
time make
this?
Irk and Berg child learn. But time make Irk and Berg child learn. Irk and Berg child show love to gone parent by doing the same. Build more flat water land for more plant and mud hut. And their Irk and Berg children do the same. Early civilizations were built on
Okay.
river valleys and great irrigation projects. They came with fertile land, provided easy transportation, food sources, and also fresh water.
Well,
They were
yeah.
also built in valleys, which had a major advantage. They're flat. The Netherlands is not only dense like a major city, but the entire country is essentially a gigantic river valley, the place where urban development was born. It has some of the highest soil fertility in the world, partially inherited from its vast river system, and its intricate canal network provided easy transportation throughout its history, improved trade, and eliminated one of the biggest bottlenecks for good infrastructure in small but dense countries: a lack of resources. They're one of the flattest countries in the world, which helped remove a variable that produces high construction costs: variations in elevation. So when we look at the Netherlands, it's important to remember something. It has trams with the agility of taxis, windmills that work like house fans, and neighborhoods built for walking.
To work like house fans? Is that what he said?
But the Netherlands has a secret. Not a secret that other countries can't follow or copy. Many places should be built like the Netherlands, but choose instead not to. But to be like the Netherlands, it's important to be built like the Netherlands.
Okay.
And the Netherlands is not built like a country. It's built like a giant city. Designing and building cities requires a deep understanding of physics, maths, and geometry. Without this knowledge, Urk and Buruk would not have been able to build their mud huts. Luckily, we don't need to go out into the wild anymore to learn such concepts.
That was pretty interesting for sure. So I don't understand how just because it's so close together and it's, and they're like, oh, well, it's built like New York City or it's built like, a big city or whatever structurally that makes it a big city, but it's not. It's a country that just happens to have a lot of cities that are close together that became interconnected and intertwined, but they're still separate cities. I don't understand I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know down below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and you guys have a super fun, awesome day. All right, take care.